Was Putin's helicopter attacked by Ukraine? Kyiv debunks Russian fake news. Drone attack in Moscow damages technopark and sparks fire. And Zelensky on meeting Trump and Putin. I'm ready for any format. The latest news next. In Moscow during the night of May 28, explosions were heard amid air defense operations targeting drones as a result of the air attack. A fire broke out in a technopark in Zelenograd, and one of its buildings was damaged, according to Astra and the channel of Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin. The Moscow mayor reported the repelling of drone attacks flying toward Moscow. According to Sobyanin, a total of 33 drones were reportedly shot down by air defense systems. He repeatedly emphasized that initially there were no serious damages or casualties, and that emergency service specialists are working at the sites where the drone fragments fell. He made a similar statement specifically regarding the aftermath in Zelenograd. For reference, Zelenograd is one of the 12 districts of Russia's capital. It is located entirely outside the Moscow Ring Road, about 37 kilometers northwest of central Moscow. Zelenograd, composed of 5 districts, is considered the main scientific and industrial center of Russian electronics and microelectronics. Video of drone attack, explosions and fire in Moscow. Numerous videos and photos of the drone attack and the station in Moscow were posted online. Many of these clips appeared in the morning, filmed from various locations across the Russian capital. The footage shows moments of drones flying over the Moscow sky, an explosion of a drone apparently due to air defense fire, as well as a drone falling onto the territory of the Elma Technopark, followed by an explosion and a fire. Russia claimed that the helicopter of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin was attacked by the Ukrainian armed forces during his trip to the Kursk region. However, this is yet another fake news story from Russian propagandists, according to the Center for Countering Disinformation of Ukrainian's National Security and Defense Council. According to the report, Yuri Dashkin, commander of an air defense division in the Russian armed forces, claimed on the Russia TV channel that Putin's helicopter came under attack by Ukrainian forces during his visit to the Kursk region.
In reality, Putin visited the Kursk region on May 20th. It was his first trip to the region since the Russian Ministry of Defense declared it fully cleared of Ukrainian forces. Moreover, this is the first time there have been claims of Putin breaking through a swarm of drones in a helicopter.
Pro-Kremlin media covering Putin's visit claimed the move through the region exclusively by car. Federal TV channels broadcast footage of his motorcade. Furthermore, around those dates, neither the Russian Ministry of Defense nor local Kursk media and Telegram channels reported any drone attack that would match the scale described by Dashkin. During a meeting with journalists, President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Ukraine is ready for meetings on peace negotiations at the highest level, in both bilateral and trilateral formats, RBC Ukraine reports. According to Zelensky, Kyiv is not opposed to participating in a Trump-Putin-Zelensky meeting. He noted that the Ukrainian, American and Russian sides have been informed of such readiness.
We are ready for the format Trump-Putin-me, and we are ready for the formats Trump-Putin, Trump-Zelensky, and then all three of us. I mean simultaneously, not that these are scattered meetings.
The Ukrainian president gave an example of the meetings in Saudi Arabia where the Americans spoke separately with the Ukrainian and Russian sides, even though it all took place in the same space. According to Zelensky, what was missing then was a direct dialogue between Kyiv and Moscow, which later occurred in Istanbul. Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine is also ready for technical meetings in the Vatican, Switzerland, or any other proposed location. He also does not rule out an immediate meeting at the level of leaders without prior preparation. If our decision can be discussed right away without technical meetings, we are ready. What meeting formats is Ukraine considering? At the same time, the Ukrainian president stressed that he sees no issue with formats. I don't care, I'm ready for any format, Zelensky said. Ukrainian leader explained that the format depends on the topics. To discuss a ceasefire, in his words, a trilateral meeting involving the US, which could act as a monitoring party, would be appropriate. In the case of negotiations about security guarantees, Zelensky considers the participation of European countries to be important.
If it's some kind of meeting, for example, about security guarantees, I really want Europeans to be involved. This is about them providing those security guarantees. They are currently the only ones who have declared that they are ready to support Ukraine, for example, the Ukrainian army, financially and with weapons.
Zelensky said that issues related to Ukrainians' European membership should not be discussed with Russia. That definitely doesn't depend on the Russians, it depends on the Europe, and I want to talk about that with them. The head of state concluded that Ukraine is open to any negotiation format, but the content of the meetings must correspond to the authority and role of the parties involved. Tensions are growing between the US and Russia, but Donald Trump has not yet decided on new sanctions, reports Politico. The US president made it clear that his patience with Vladimir Putin was running out, warning him that he was playing with fire by refusing to hold serious peace talks to end the war in Ukraine. However, despite his disappointment that Putin is not responding to his proposal to reset relations with the United States after a peaceful settlement, Trump has not yet decided to change his approach. Putin is getting dangerously close to burning the golden bridge that Trump has set out before him, said one administration official. About possible sanctions, Trump has not yet decided to impose new sanctions on Moscow in response to the intensification of attacks on Ukraine, 4 US officials said. Ukrainian supporters in Congress are treating carefully, urging the White House to follow through on threats against Putin. European allies are also worried. They fear that Trump may abandon pressure on the Kremlin and leave them alone to support Ukraine. If it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad, Trump wrote on Truth Social. He's playing with fire. Skepticism inside and outside the administration. Although Trump told reporters that he is considering additional sanctions against Russia, he also accused Putin of being absolutely crazy, but threats remain just words. According to Kurt Walker, Trump's former special envoy for Ukraine, the president has not actually stepped up his policy against Moscow. He has had so many opportunities to do it, and he has always ducked. Trump also continues to criticize other players. In his post, he wrote that the blame for the war lies with Joe Biden, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Trump wants to see a negotiated peace deal and keeps all options on the table. Sanctions are in question. According to Fred Flaherty of the America First Policy Institute, Trump's patience is running thin, and within the next month or 6 weeks, where Trump may end negotiations and put in place tough sanctions. Meanwhile, in conversations with European leaders, Trump, according to sources, justified Putin, saying that he could have refused to negotiate because of the threat of new sanctions from the United States and Europe. Some of Trump's advisors have been telling him that sanctions could hurt American companies and push Russia away from the talks. Republicans pressured Trump. Republican senators are discussing a sanctions bill that could gain support in the Senate, but they need a signal from Trump. Without his approval, the initiative could be blocked in the House of Representatives. Senate Republican Majority Leader John Thune said he was ready to bring the bill to a vote if Russia did not come to the negotiating table. Senator John Barrasso also emphasized that if Russia stalls, the Senate will act decisively to move to bring lasting peace. Some senators, including Kevin Cramer, believe that Thune can move forward with sanctions without Trump's direct approval, although it would be politically better to get such a signal. Senator Lindsey Graham is actively coordinating his initiative with the State Department and convincing allies that the Senate is moving down the road to holding Putin accountable, dividing topics and hopes for trade. According to European diplomats, the Russian government is trying to separate the issue of the war in Ukraine from the general context of US-Russia relations, in which Moscow and Washington see economic potential. It seems to us that the Russians would like to separate two topics. One is Russia-US relations, and then Ukraine as a separate topic, the European official said. Both the US and Russia have hinted at the prospects for trade after a possible peaceful settlement. Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States when this catastrophic bloodbath is over, and I agree, Trump wrote after his last talk with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe.